church in a while. I want you to think about this. We talk oftentimes about America being a great place to live in. It is a great place for so many reasons. But then the bigger question becomes, is it the greatest place for everybody? As a licensed psychologist, I get a chance to go around to different countries, different companies, and really see how the culture is. And one of the things that I learned is if you're going to have a great culture, it's a thing that people need. They need physical safety, they need nourishment, but then they need something called psychological safety. And it's not a term I coined, but it was a term coined by people in this field. Two people who have really made it come to life is a lady by the name of Amy Edmondson out at Harvard and Tim Clark. And what they said is there's 4 stages that makes a person feel psychologically safe. So I'm thinking if a company needs you to feel psychologically safe for you to be your best and for the company to be its best, and sometimes people compare America to a corporation, so it's a big company as a country, I ask myself, are we psychologically safe here? See, the first step is inclusion. By inclusion, what they mean is this: once you come here, you feel welcome. You know, when you're onboarded, sometimes they'll give you some paraphernalia, some gear. They'll give you something to make you feel good. They'll give you, a welcoming introduction. They'll take you on a tour. They'll introduce you to people that let you know, hey, this is your new home. This is where you're at. But when I look at the African, I think about how we were first included in this country through the Middle Passage. And you think about being stolen from a homeland and going. And so many people say, oh, well, that's been centuries ago. You've been here forever. But you go from, let's just say we started 1619, although we know that date goes back. And we moved that from 1619 to 1865. But then from 1865 to 1964, in the period of Jim Crow, even with reclamation inside of that, we had people who what? Did not feel included. Why didn't they feel included? Because it was a separate but equal, even though it was very unequal. Well, you said, well, listen, from 1964 all the way to 2022, things have gotten better. You have to be happy about that. But then what I want to say is this: yeah, they have gotten better. But just because they gotten better doesn't mean they're exactly where they need to be. And I know you probably said, hey, we've kind of heard this from you before. Where you going with this? Well, let's go with the second point, because when we start talking about feeling included, you ask yourself, well, what's the next step? You're taught. You're taught how to be great at that company. You're taught how to do work. So you ask yourself, look at what we contributed to this country. Because we were taught how to be able to what? To do things from domestic, where we raised children, where we kept house clean. But then also we look at what is the other great things that we did. We created inventions. We think about the inventions of Black authors, and it's so beautiful, it's so powerful. But then you keep moving up and you say, even look at the technology with the things that people do inside of companies. We look inside of the sports world, the great things that athletes have brought to the sport and changed the name of the game. So you say, okay, well, now you feel included. Once you feel included and you've been taught, but not only are you taught, you excel. So we said we did great things. So the first 3 steps is you feel included, you've been taught, and now you start to excel. Well, guess what? Once you start to excel and you said, hey, I'm doing good. Now, guess what? I feel like I got a little clout. I'm a vet. I'm not a rookie anymore. I should be able to say things. And when we say things in a company when things don't go the way they're supposed to go, when we want to make innovations, when we want to do things greater. I always tell people, I said, you know why the Russians beat the U.S. to the moon? Because they didn't want to use Calvin Johnson. They wanted to put all of those beautiful minds, those brilliant minds, in a dark corner until they absolutely needed them and had to pull them out. So what I want you thinking about is this. The last stage is the challenge, because once you feel you've been included, you've worked hard, you've excelled, guess what you do? You want to challenge the status quo. You say, I know how to make this place better. I can do this, we can do this, why aren't we doing that? Well, in America, that comes into the guise of being an agitator. We want to fight for civil rights. So when you have people like Martin Luther King who says, hey, we want our rights. We just want civil rights. We want the basic inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But some people don't like that. So for the people who are able to elevate to a higher status, and they say, oh, this person's going to be a problem. You remember the old saying, don't come in here stirring up the good niggers. That means the people who know they place love the status quo. The people who were stirring up the good niggers was the people who say, hey, this is not right. We need to make it better, and not just for us, but if we make it better for us, we make it better for the whole country. But they said, no, we don't like that. So you know what they said? We got a way to deal with these people who want to be agitators. The first thing what they do is they allow people to be what? Sellouts. You said, what you mean sellout? So excelling and doing good is a sellout? No, not at all. In fact, I encourage people to do their best. The only thing is, I encourage you also to live by the same mindset as we got to live while we climb. If you climb all the way to the top, but you cannot get the people who are beneath you, how can that be satisfying? So for some people, they say, you know what, this is all about me, because what they've assimilated into American society. In fact, they've done the second stage too well. They learned. They said, you know what, if you want to get over, you can't worry about all of these other people. You got to get yours and yours around you. Everybody else, hey, to the strongest only survive. But those who have a better heart have said, you know what, I don't want to have this cake if I can't eat it with my brothers and sisters. That's one thing they do is they pull your bones out. And as we're all human, guess what? We all have bones. You think about all of our great heroes and they say, man, they tore this person down. But then we say, man, they did it to themselves. We look at Bill Cosby, great on top of the world. Sexual deviancy brings him down. They tried to bring down Michael Jackson, and even though he was never convicted in a court of law, he was convicted in a court of opinion. They said, this guy is a molester. We look at any hero, and they try to find a way to bring him or her down. Introduce different things to set them up so they can bring themselves down, and then they bring them out and say, hey, this is your leader. Remember what J. Edgar Hoover did to Martin Luther King, trying to pull out those tapes and said, hey, we're going to display these to the world. Go kill yourself. But the third thing is people say, hey, you know what, I don't got bones, or you can let them bones out. People know I'm not perfect. I don't care. But then the next thing what they do is they bring in collaborators, people to help set you up. Or they lie on you. And then after they lie on you, then they tell the truth about you. But then it's too late because all of the things were damaged and done. And let's say you're able to manage that. They try to lie on you. They try to bring in insiders and collaborators and informants to bring you down, but you survive that. Then they just put you in jail or they kill you. Think about how many political prisoners that we have. And so you say, okay, well, what does this have to do with Black History Month? What's to wrap this up? But this is the point. We ask ourselves, why do we live here? And if we live here, why do we accept the things we do? We've never been included. We've been taught what to do. We've contributed. But when we challenge it, destruction for us and for those who we love. Or we have to go ahead and get those crumbs at the expense of losing everybody else who we love and who we care and who we came up with. Ask yourself this. When you're at your job, are you a part of an affinity group, or does there need to be an affinity group? Meaning because the larger corporation doesn't fit your needs, where you can't breathe, that double consciousness that W.E.B. Du Bois talked about. So what I want you to start thinking about is this. If I can't be myself here, I'm the first one to be the first president. I'm the first one to be here. Even in 2020, 21 to 22, here we are with first Black president, first female Black president. Why are we still going through first in the land that we've been in for hundreds and hundreds of years? Mothers, are you afraid to send your sons out? Brother, are you afraid when the cherries and berries and the lights come behind you with that sound, even though you know you're not riding dirty? Because you just don't know? NFL is going through a lawsuit. And they said, we don't have any qualified blacks, even though there's an abundance of blacks. But yet, mediocre white coaches get recycled over and over and over. Look at the double standard. And I'll end with this one. If Barack Obama, the 44th president of these United States of America, had done an ounce of the things that President Trump, the 45th president of the United States, had completed, ask yourself, would he would have ever been voted? And how quickly would he would have been impeached? It's not even close. So what I want us to think about is this. Black History Month. We want to be included here, but it's an unrequited love. It's like the love of a person who reaches out and is yet rejected. How many times must Lucy remove the ball for Charlie Brown to understand that that ball is never going to be there? So the question is why? Why do we stay here, or why do we stay here in these conditions? and more so, what are we willing to do? We're going to keep exploring those topics and those conversations as we continue on this 2020 Black History Month. I'm the Blacksmith with Big Daddy Dre. We'll see you tomorrow.